welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, 5th October 2018. I'm Yvette Boynes with the details. Food security remains an issue of concern for the Ministry of Agriculture. As such, provisions will be in place to prevent a mass exodus of farmers from production to traditional crops into the proposed medicinal marijuana industry. So said Minister of Agriculture Sobota Caesar as he spoke at a luncheon at the Beachcombers Hotel today, organized by the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. The luncheon brought together representatives from the business and farming community and gave them the opportunity to air their concerns about the establishment of a medicinal marijuana industry in SVG. 3 bills related to the proposed industry will be further dealt with in Parliament in another 21 days, having been examined at a committee of the House. Caesar said farmers wishing to be a part of the proposed industry will be required to have a license. He said a farmer must prove that he or she has a legitimate buyer before a license can be granted.
That's the whole issue of persons rushing out of what they have cultivated into cannabis. And I want to note this, that before the authority gives you a license to cultivate cannabis, you have to prove that you have a buyer for this cannabis. Because every year, we have to send information to the International Narcotics Control Board as to how much cannabis is grown in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and where it is going to be exported to or utilized. Therefore, a farmer can't just wake up one morning and say, well, I'm going to chop down all my bananas and plant cannabis. He has to apply for a license. And in applying for the license, he has to prove that he has a legitimate buyer.
The Agriculture Minister said the traditional marijuana growers will be given preference.
It notes that the authority which will be in charge of the management of this whole space from a state standpoint, that monies coming into the authority, monies would have to be directed towards addressing traditional cultivators who are moving from the hills to the legal cultivation of cannabis for medicinal purposes. So we are not only leaving it as a general policy for discussion, we actually have it inside of the letter of the bill. The focus, however, is on persons who can prove that they have a history of cultivating cannabis, one, or persons who are currently farming cannabis and are willing to bring it in under the period of the amnesty. When you apply for the amnesty, it will automatically trigger assistance in establishing production.
Minister Caesar said the farmers cannot begin planting unless the purchaser provides finances by means of a bond, which will also create a level of certainty within the industry.
Also addressing the issue by way of legislation to ensure that persons, before you begin the actual growing of the cannabis, that the person who is going to purchase from you would have to leave monies in a security bond. Because we don't want farmers to go and grow something and then when you finish growing it, you don't have a market to sell it. It's not going to go through the ups and downs as other commodities go, because we don't want to hear in the next 3 years that you have 50,000 grams of cannabis in Greg's alone, where persons are looking for a market for this cannabis. It's going to be very, very controlled.
The future of the proposed medicinal marijuana industry looks bright. So said Director of Invest SVG Annette Mark as she spoke at today's luncheon organized by the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Mark said St. Vincent and the Grenadines is well placed to take advantage of the opportunities that the industry will provide thanks to the rich soil and the unique farming tradition. She said meetings have already been held with potential investors as part of the groundwork to ensure a smooth process after the relevant pieces of legislation are passed.
In working behind the scenes as the gatekeepers and clearinghouse, Invest SVG has already started meeting with both local and foreign investors, receiving proposals and carrying out our initial due diligence. Once the bill is passed, We will then carry out further due diligence where required before passing clients over to the authority for processing of applications. Invest SVG is working together with the Minister of Agriculture, and we've developed a number of questionnaires, some of which have already been sent out to potential investors, and this is mainly for information gathering and to assist us with perfecting the process and policies in adopting this new industry.
Mark said a lot of interest and excitement is being shown by a wide cross-section of investors.
With the Ministry of Agriculture since the inception of the bill, and we look forward to developing the industry to the benefit of the Vincentian public. As a side note, sometimes it's difficult to control my excitement because from where I sit, I can see what is in store for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I see the ministers laughing because I have to say the minister is even more excited than I am, because I get calls at all hours of the night, texts at all hours of the night. So Peter, when I message and text y'all, you know it's because the minister is keeping me awake, and for all the good reasons. So it's really hard to control my excitement, because from where I sit, I could see that for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the future looks bright.
She, however, gave the assurance that local investors will not be left out.
I'd just like to add to what the minister just said also, and I do take the comments very seriously, what was said by Mr. Stewart, right? By Stewart. And well, this is one of the reasons why we are here as Invest SVG. People in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have this fallacy that Invest SVG is all about foreign investors. We're not all about foreign investors. We are here to encourage the locals, and our doors are open to all local persons who want to to invest in not just the cannabis industry, but any form of investment that we have, that we can guide you, show you the way. Our doors are open to you. So we're not just about foreign investors. We welcome the foreign investors, but we also welcome local investors.
The relationship between Taiwan and SVG was in the spotlight last evening through a public lecture organized by the Lighthill Foundation at French's House. Minister of Health Luke Brown, who is also the director of Lighthill Foundation, delivered the lecture, during which he highlighted the developmental work in which Taiwan was engaged locally over the past 37 years. Taiwan's Ambassador Calvin Ho, who attended the lecture, reiterated that his country remains committed to offering further assistance, saying that SVG has also made its contributions to Taiwan. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd has more.
Taiwan has contributed towards the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines through implementation of close to 20 projects. This was made known to the Vincentian public through a lecture on the relations between Taiwan and SVG by Minister of Health Luke Brown, who spoke in his capacity as director of the Lighthill Foundation. Addressing a packed audience at French's House, Brown said Vincentians need to be appreciative of the contributions made by Taiwan, about which many people are unaware.
That Vincentians who have been the beneficiaries of abundant generosity from the Chinese civilization through scholarships, bursaries, grants, the YES program, the Rabaka Bridge, the Argyle International Airport, the National Public Library, Learning Resource Centers, and more, have an appetite for more knowledge and information about our friend called Taiwan, which seems to be far away, but which in reality is as close as the air we breathe.
Brown referred to the promise by the opposition New Democratic Party that they will sever ties with Taiwan when elected to office, saying he's hopeful that after the lecture, people would have a better understanding why this should not happen. Brown added that SVG through the government will continue to make representations on behalf of Taiwan to be recognized internationally.
The PRC basically has nothing to do with the day-to-day running of affairs in Taiwan. Therefore, the actual situation is that the 23 million people of Taiwan are not represented at the World Health Organization, and no political considerations should prevent or frustrate us from acknowledging and rectifying this breach or violation of the principle of inclusion.
Taiwan's ambassador to SVG, Calvin Ho, lauded the initiative by the Lightail Foundation to have the lecture, saying he believes it was timely. Ambassador Ho said while SVG has not contributed financially towards the development of Taiwan, they have been a voice for his country, for which he is grateful, and they do not see Taiwan breaking ties with SVG.
Also, actually, you also help us a lot because no matter we have a bigger land, more people, but most of you probably know our international situation. We don't have much international participation in some international organizations. But with your help, like Prime Minister Gonzalez actually just spoke at the UN Assembly last month. And also, you know that my good friends, Minister Brown, actually spoke for us at this year's WHO, World Health Assembly. Actually, not the first year, already been some years. So we are so deeply appreciate about this part.
The lecture on Taiwan is the first in a series being organized by the Lightail Foundation. Reporting for SVGTV News, I am Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
Teachers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines observed International Teachers' Day today under the theme, "The right to education means the right to a qualified teacher." The day is also known as Teachers Appreciation Day. And yesterday, the president of the SVG Teachers Union, Wendy Bino, made an appeal to students to show appreciation to their teachers today. At the Thomas Saunders Secondary School, head teacher John Renton complimented all his teachers and organized lunch for them. He said teachers work beyond the call of duty and they should be appreciated at all times.
The teachers are the backbone of the education system, and the majority of them go above and beyond the call of duty for their children. Their work is much appreciated. Without them, schools can't happen. So teachers, thank you very much for all your efforts.
Students also showed their appreciation for their teachers in various ways. One teacher at the school, who received a malt and a biscuit, expressed his gratitude.
I got a surprise from my lovely kids this morning. Got a vitamin, pack of peanuts, and they all came and gave me a hug, so I'm feeling really good this morning.
In yesterday's interview with SVGTV News, the Teachers Union president said the theme for this year is appropriate for SVG since all teachers need recognition for the work they do within and outside of the classroom.
World Teachers Day is also known as International Teachers Day and is held annually on October the 5th. The intention is to acknowledge, evaluate, and enhance the instructors of the world, and to give a chance to consider issues identified with educators and the teaching process in general.
Happy Teachers Appreciation Day!
Efforts are being made here to raise awareness about the medical condition endometriosis, which affects women. Endometriosis is an often painful disorder in which tissue that normally lines the inside of the uterus grows outside of it. The endometriosis awareness drive is being spearheaded by Nika Anderson Isaacs, who said that she has been affected by endometriosis since a teenager. Isaacs, who is employed as communications officer in the Ministry of Health, said she is working to bring greater awareness about the condition using the platforms of fashion, arts, and music, which goes by the acronym FAM.
Instead of walking around with a sponsorship sheet and asking people for money, I decided to come up with something that could create an awareness of endometriosis and the different issues that women have who suffer with endometriosis, while raising funds for myself to go abroad to do surgery. And I must say a lot of persons have come on board to support me tremendously with this. But if we can create an awareness and help persons to understand what is happening and probably try to get some help overseas where necessary to assist more women here, then that would be helpful. I've been struggling with it for my teenage years, and there are a lot of teenagers also that are going through the same thing. So if I can help them along the journey before they even have to reach to my stage, then that would be great.
Isaacs told SVG-TV that she plans to pursue surgical intervention as one way of correcting the condition, even as she related her experience living with endometriosis.
Sometimes I have pain like 2 weeks before the period come, during and after. Sometimes vomiting, diarrhea, back pain, swelling of the feet, the whole work. Sometimes it's so bad, it's like you feel like you have ache or like you're just constantly shaking. It pretty much controls your life. You have to live around it because almost twice every month I'm absent from work or school or wherever it is. Every time I go to apply for a new job or something, I always have to explain to them that I have this condition. As you get older, it gets worse, and you just have to try and find, and when you're taking all these pain medication over the year, your body gets adjusted to it, so nothing really works after a while. So you have to find some relief. You're on the cold ground, rolling around, and it's just so much complications.
Isaacs is advising women to be more health conscious and not to slight any pain which they may experience. She is organizing an event to take place this Sunday at the Sunset Shores Hotel and is inviting persons to attend.
Do your regular checks. Go to your doctor, make sure you're on top of it, your health, eat properly, exercise. It is so critical to keep doing these things, and if you see any changes in your body, consult a physician. Make sure, because early detection helps with prevention and it helps in saving lives. So I just want to encourage persons to continue to do that. A lot of persons say, you don't look sick, and that is the thing about endometriosis. It's like a silent condition that you have to live with. It every month is going through the same thing over and over again for extensive period during the month. So it's not just the time that you're having a period that you're feeling all this pain. For me, sometimes it's up to 2 weeks before, during and after.
A Vincentian-born man living in New York was on Wednesday sentenced to 25 years in prison after being convicted for bludgeoning and strangling his pregnant daughter and hiding her body in a closet in 2016. According to the New York Daily News, prosecutors said William Caruth, 64, killed his daughter in January 2016 over a money dispute by bashing her repeatedly in the head with a hammer that caused fractures to the skull and injured her brain. Andrea Caruth's body was found days later with a rope around her neck in a closet of the home she shared with her father. Family members had become worried when they had not heard from her, and her fiancé called the police, who obtained a search warrant. The victim, 39, operated a daycare facility out of the home, and neighbors said she was looking forward to having a child of her own. Authorities said William Caruth appeared to be having a dispute with his daughter over money and a second mortgage taken on the house. The paper quoted the police as saying that prosecutors recovered a hammer in his car. The father's DNA was also found under the victim's fingernails. A jury convicted Caruth of first-degree manslaughter on May 18th. The police here have issued a wanted bulletin out for 31-year-old Joel Gary Barker, also known as Bodong and Platinum of Penniston. Barker is wanted in connection with investigations into a shooting incident in Union Island on Wednesday night, in which 23-year-old Kareem Bowens died. Police said the wanted man is slim, 5 feet 9 inches tall, dark in complexion, has a narrow face, brown eyes, thick lips, and tattoos on both hands. Barker is said to be armed and dangerous and should be approached with caution. The police are asking anyone who sees Barker to contact the nearest police station or call telephone numbers 456-1339 or 457-1211 extension 217.